Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Dimitri Johnson, and you're listening to MMA Latest.com.
It's time to roll, baby.
What is up, guys? We are back here for another UFC Fight Island pre-fight show. I'm here with Jay and Quillette. Guys, how you doing? I know, Jay, you've been in Lisbon for the week. How you been doing this week? Enjoyed it?
Yeah, pretty good. Very hot. Struggled to breathe. Everything is uphill. So walking-wise, me cardio is not what it once was. So happy to be home with the cold Irish air, thankfully.
Yes, definitely. We're not at the best weather over this part, so you've been lucky there. Quillette, with your week. Looking forward to what's going to be a cracking fight tonight, I bet.
You still can't say my name. All good, man. All good, yeah. Buzzing for this fight night tonight.
I got it on my first try.
First go.
It's not fair. It's not fair. But anyway, we're here with Darren Till, Robert Whittaker. Whittaker is back after his loss against Adesanya, the champ. We see what he came out with. I think it was in February time, wasn't it? February, March. He came out and said he's had a lot of struggles mentally, but he looks motivated. He's coming with a much more positive mindset, and it seems like the time away is done him good. Jay, how are you thinking with Whittaker coming into this fight?
I'm excited for him. It all depends. Like, I know when, I feel like his two wars with Yoel Romero, it absolutely took its toll on his body to the point where he went down and got finished rather easily, I felt, against Adesanya. Now, look, I know Adesanya is a sharpshooter, and it's very easy for him to put people away like that. But it just seemed what I've seen from Whittaker against Romero, surely he would have been able to withstand it, and he couldn't. So it depends on how he's feeling after that. I think he took the right amount of time off to recover, get back in shape, get back in the gym and get ready. But he's coming in for another tough fight. But I think it's definitely a winnable fight for both men tonight. Yeah,
definitely. I feel almost sorry for Whittaker, because if you go down his timeline, obviously he became the interim champion, was meant to fight Michael Bisping. That didn't quite go to plan. Bisping then lost the title to GSP. GSP retired, and Whittaker almost got thrown into the championship limelight. And I don't think he's quite admittedly said he never dealt with the pressures of being a champion, and it almost overwhelmed him. Whereas someone like Adesanya, he's a lot more out there. He's a lot more open to the public, and he seems to take that pressure in and really harvest it for the better. But for Whittaker, it'll be interesting. Obviously, Darren Till's had his own mentality issues coming into fights. Great. How are you balancing this up? Because this to me is a war of the mentality side rather than their skill sets.
For me, it's skill set. I don't think I think they've had enough time off. They're very open. They're very honest. They speak very clearly about how they're feeling, how their head's been. I think they're perfect in that. They're fine in that department, and they've addressed anything. If anything needs addressing, or I feel like they would have. That's their business that I'm sure they would have sorted. But in terms of when it comes down to fighting, I think they're gonna just get in there, and it's gonna be a battle of who trained the hardest, who shows up, and who's the better man.
Yeah, we've seen a lot this time. Till's quite, I don't want to say arrogant or cocky, but he's very assured of himself in terms of the way he builds up fights. And Whittaker's he keeps himself to himself. He's a lot more quieter. And these two have had quite an admirable build-up. Some banter back and forth, along with the chips and the dip, of course. But these two it's been a very level playing field coming into this with the war of attrition towards the mental game, Jay.
Yeah, and it's I think it's been very good to see. I mean, Darren Till spoke recently about how he's trying to change the whole idea of selling a fight. It doesn't always need to be negative. I've thoroughly enjoyed it this time round. I think, two solid fighters, two elite level fighters, just bantering, good vibes. That's all between the two of them. But you seen the face off the other day where Till addressed it. Right, we're gonna go for a war. Now, I don't foresee that happening. I don't see this fight being a war. I could be wrong, but I do like that side of things. I like the fact that they can both kind of, be lads almost, but yet come Saturday night they're gonna punch each other's head in, and I think we're the ones winning in that case.
Yeah, definitely. You see Till. He made that move up to middleweight, beat Gastelum pretty convincingly. He's he's game as anything, but you see him even question about Yoel Romero and saying, I'll have any middleweight but Yoel Romero. And Whittaker's obviously been there twice. And he's, as you said, Kuwait, he's taken the miles on the clock for it. But do you think we've got, we almost forget we have this age problem. Whittaker's only 29 and he's already been through so much. We saw it with Jose Aldo's 33. We sometimes forget how young these fighters are. He's only a year older than Max Holloway.
Yeah, well, like, he's been, just because he's young, it doesn't mean like he's going to be done earlier either. Like, you know, you see fighters go on for a long time, but no, I think he's built up the experience. He's been in their wars. Wars are going to take their toll on you. Your body's going to, obviously, it's going to have a big impact on your body. But I feel like if you're training correctly and if you're taking enough breaks and you're taking care of yourself enough, you'll have the longevity to fight. I don't think age will really come into it. But yeah, he's still quite young. Like, Whittaker could make a run for a title after a win here, if he wins. Darren Till's the exact same. Both are in like prime position, prime of their like careers right now. Literally, I mean, you could say what Whittaker was, but no, I still think he's prime of his career. Same with Darren Till. This is probably the best time to have this fight.
Definitely, you know, Whittaker's had a lot of injuries. He had that hernia back at 236 or 235. Yeah. And of course, he took some time out, and hopefully, as I said, I don't think he's in his prime yet. You know, as a former welterweight like Darren Till, and he's done his best work at middleweight, but I still think he's got an easier 3 or 4 years. And I think down that time we see Till probably go to light heavyweight, and maybe even Whittaker go to light heavyweight himself. Jay, you said you didn't see this being a war. How do you just see it going then?
I think you're some man for throwing out these. You need to start your own thing where it's like 2021, like what ifs, buts, and maybes. Because I'll tell you, that's a shout. I don't think they'll go to 205. I'll say that much. But I actually completely missed the second part of your question.
Yeah, you said you don't think this is going to be a war. How do you see it going?
I think it'll be a very technical battle. I think, look, seeing Whittaker in a war was what Romero made of that fight. Romero kind of, like, you see how he fights. When he's down, he swings, you know. And I kind of brought that over me, Whittaker, to the point where Whittaker just stood and traded with him, and they were both rocking each other. I don't see that. Like, Darren Till doesn't strike me, and I don't mean this in like any disrespectful way, but he doesn't look the type of fighter to engage in a war. You know, he just looks like the type of fighter who will just pick you apart and try and get you out of it. You know what I'm saying? So I think it'll be a very technical battle on that end, and it's just a matter of which one executes that game plan well enough. Because, and I just want to touch on as well what we were talking about. What he's just talking about there with Whittaker in terms of his age as well. Like, I don't necessarily think there's any shame in him getting beat by Israel Adesanya. And I agree with you, Quilter, that it's like he's still in his prime. So the sky's still the limit for him. He can still easily bounce back and get himself a title shot. You know, it's just, well, this would be a big scalp for him to do that. But yeah, I think time is well and truly on his side. I just think like the right recovery time, especially after the 2 Romero fights and the knockout from Adesanya, he needs to take it in the correct steps in order to get back to the title. But I think it's easily done.
Yeah, do you see a win for either of these? Is that their next fight will be a title fight, whether it's against Costa or Adesanya?
It should be.
Yeah, I would like so. I keep saying my dream fight is Adesanya Till at the end of this year. I would love to see that fight. The build up, the banter that even they've had during this lockdown period. Do you think that's going to happen, Colette? And if you're the winner tonight, are you looking forward to more? Are you looking at more Costa or Adesanya to win that fight as your next opponent?
Got to start with tonight first. In terms of Till and Whittaker, to touch on what Jay said, I'm not sure about it being a technical fight. I can kind of agree with that in a sense. I feel like there might be moments it will open up a little bit, and it could have moments of it being a war. I think it has all the potential to be, potential fight of the night type of job. But I'm excited for that. Whoever does win should be in line, but you can't forget about Cannonier either. Like, he's up there. He's man.
People have been forgetting him lately, haven't they?
It's where he disappeared or got released because, like, he's still hanging around. Like he's still the killer he always was. Like he is there waiting for a scalp. He's in prime title position. It's like a Leon Edwards situation where like, they're at title fight ready. They're title fight ready, but they're just not been given the opportunity yet. So I think he's there, but I don't know I do think just because of kind of the hype and the kind of marketing surrounding the whole fight and the hype you can build around it, the winner of this fight will, especially if it's Till, because if whoever wins, especially if it's Till, if he goes and fights Adesanya, which would be probably, I wouldn't call it the more probable fight, but probably the more entertaining fight in a bit, if you're going towards a build-up anyway, because of the banter they both had, as you said. But at the same time, Costa's Twitter game is very strong. So if, let's say, Till wins or Whittaker wins, and whoever goes on to fight for the title, and it's Costa, let's say, Costa wins, then I still think there'd be a great amount of banter there as well between whoever.
Yeah, definitely. No, and you mentioned Jared Cannonier there. We'll have a look at the middleweight rankings. We're expecting Adesanya to face Paulo Costa at UFC 253. Obviously, we've got Till Whittaker tonight. If you're making if you're matchmaking here, who are you putting up? Romero didn't look good against Adesanya. He's probably maybe a Hermansson, or you put him up against Cannonier, perhaps. Hermansson obviously had a good win last week, wasn't it? But
I think. Sorry, I thought you were done. I think if Till wins tonight, Costa goes up to number 1. Till jumps straight into number 2. That's probably the most sensible ranking I can think of.
Oh, if Till wins, I could see him being number 1.
No, Costa would be number 1 because he's due to fight, wouldn't he?
If that's the current ranking, if you're going off current rankings, then by logic, you'd say Darren Till would go first, despite Paulo Costa being next in line. But yeah, it would make more sense for Paulo Costa to be number 1, considering that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You mentioned earlier you see Darren Till, Jay, being more of almost like a bit of the point striker. We saw that against Wonderboy, and we saw it against Gastelum, and the 2 times he's come out aggressive was against Masvidal and obviously Tyron Woodley, and he lost both of those fights. Although Masvidal, he did rock him in the first round.
That's what I mean about like just seeing it as a technical fight, because I don't think anytime he like overly engages, it goes too well. So I do feel, especially you remember the Gastelum fight, he was told after the first round, right, okay, you felt him now, like get the nerves out there or whatever. Now stick to the game plan, and he went out and he won the fight. So I feel like he would be very game plan orientated. So I don't in any way see this being a war. Now I do agree with Quilty again. Like if you were to get caught and he's buzzed and Whittaker pushes him, I'd absolutely see him swinging and engaging, but I don't think it would last very long. I'm not saying Darren Till has no chin or nothing like that. That's not the case, but he has been dropped in 2 of his losses. Woodley dropped him before he got him out there with a sub, and Masvidal done what Masvidal done. So, he just needs to be patient. If it's a point game, fine, and then just pick your shots. As soon as he sees the openings, crack, and he can try and get the fight done with as quick as he can. But that's just how I foresee it going. I don't think he will engage in a war at all.
Do you think it's going to be a decision? So
possibly, but then again, like he could also like. I'm not saying he can't finish him with just being like technical.
Yeah.
Like I think he could very well do what Adesanya done. Not like play by play with a check hook or nothing like that. But he very well could catch him coming on or something. And vice versa, Whittaker has power as well. These counter strikes from Whittaker are very good. So I don't know. If I was to put money on it, I would say decision. But there's no reason why there couldn't be a stoppage.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah,
who's picking who?
I'm going to go with Whittaker by decision.
I'm going to hit Till. I'm going to say 4th round. I think if it does go to this decision, I don't see it being a 5-0 or a 4-1. I can imagine we get to the 5th round and it's 2-2. And then whoever gets that 5th round wins the fight.
Agreed. You think Till's going to finish it in the 4th, yeah?
In the 4th, yeah, I hope so.
I think I said that during the week somewhere as well. I was thinking that, first 3 rounds is going to be back and forth. Both lads are going to, be very technical. And then fourth round, see what they're made of, and might get finished then. The more I've been watching fights in the build up to this, and just researching both guys further, I could see a Darren Till split decision, but I'm not too. I'd go with the split decision for Darren Till, maybe unanimous decision. But I see him taking this one.
Yeah, to add to it, we see Till's losses against Woodley and Masvidal. Do you think there could be the fact that he just got unlucky with the opponents, the fact that Masvidal and Woodley are so closely linked to each other with their gyms? Do you think you can imagine Masvidal helped Woodley for that count and vice versa? So do you reckon them two just had the beating of him because of their work for say 3-4 months?
Well, I know Woodley was ATT, but if you remember, he's obviously been spending a lot of time with Duke Rufus as well. So I don't know in that sense, but I know the two of them well respect each other, Masvidal and Woodley. But in terms of the Masvidal fight, I think he was that was his fight. It was his fight to lose. It was Till's to lose. You seen what he was a minute in and he put Masvidal on his ass. So I don't know. I think in that fight, somewhere along the lines, he just got complacent and he felt like he was there whenever he wanted it, and Masvidal shut the lights out. So that's probably the best learning curve for him. The Till one, that happened. Fair enough. But this time round, he was winning the fight and he got put out in his home crowd. So that'll do him good. He will took a lot from that, and you won't see him rest on his laurels in a fight again, I'm sure.
Definitely, sometimes a loss can be the biggest gain for a fighter. And I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them have at least one knockdown in this bout. I do think it could be like Adesanya Gustafsson, maybe not as powerful, but I would imagine if we get to the fourth or fifth round, we see at least one knockdown apiece. And it's who has the bigger heart almost.
Yeah.
If we look at the Taylor tape, is there anything that you really stand out and says that's the pick? There's only an inch advantage for Till in the reach, inch leg reach advantage for Whittaker. It's a very, very close bout.
Yeah,
not much stands out really.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing it is a little bit more of the experience goes to Whittaker, but no, that wouldn't be a factor at all in this. So the only thing again, Whittaker has championship level experience. He knows how to get through a fight. He knows how to win. He knows how to get his arm raised at the end of the night. I suppose that could be something that stands for him. Whereas Till, I believe Till's only been to the championship rounds once, being against Wonderboy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You see what he's like when he gets there, especially at middleweight, carrying some extra weight. You see how he feels there as well. Maybe that could be something that Whittaker could look to exploit and try and get him out later on. Who knows?
I think Till's way better at middleweight. Never mind welterweight.
Oh yeah, me too. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm just saying, it could be a factor that or something that they're looking at.
Yeah, definitely. I think
potentially.
Till's openly said that he has a vision of going up to light heavyweight one day. And I think middleweight is definitely going to see him at that weight for probably 2-3 years before he decides to move up, especially as he goes into his mid-30s and that weight cut gets a little bit more difficult for him. But I do think maybe Whittaker, he's had those wars with Romero. He did get knocked out by Adesanya. Do you think, we see fighters when they get their first knockout and their first finish against them, their chin always comes into question? Do you think if Till rocks him, that could really put him to sleep maybe and put him, say goodnight to maybe Whittaker? Do you think that could be a possibility?
Yeah, but it could also go the other way. Because you have to remember 2 fights ago, the same thing happened to Darren Till. So, calm down, keep it on.
I'm roasting, lad.
Yeah, it could go either. It really could go either way. Darren Till's faced that as well, and you could have seen that in his performance against Gastelum. He was very nervous. He was very gun shy. So, again, it all depends on how Whittaker turns up mentally tonight. I'm expecting him to come ready to go. So I wouldn't imagine any shyness on his part, but it could always be the case. I've seen it with many fighters, like you said yourself. We've seen many fighters now. GSP's best example. Matt Serra had done a job on him, and then he barely finished the fight after that until he moved up to middleweight, ironically.
Yeah, definitely. I think this fight, it's the end of the UFC Fight Island for now. I think this is the perfect fight to end it with. It's so close, even in the fractions of the mentality of each fighter. It's so close, you can't say he's got a mental edge over him because they both come out and said their battles. Even with that Gastelum fight, you heard Darren Till say he was looking to or trying to feign an injury before walking out there. He was that sort of nervous and apprehensive to make that walk. But he went out there, did his job. And, as you said, whoever wins tonight is probably looking at a title shot come the end of the year.
Yeah.
Rightly.
Now, I will say, what happens to the loser? Because obviously, if Whittaker loses tonight, he's on a 2-fight loss streak. People will probably come out and say he's done. Or Till loses and you say middleweight's not his division.
This is what I hate about combat sports in general, is when you lose people, especially when you're a top fighter. Why is it when a top 15 fighter loses, no one really calls for them to retire? Or nobody questions that they're done? Do you know what I'm saying? Why?
Yeah.
Why is that? But yet, when it's a top 5 fighter and they lose 1 or 2 in a row, oh, they're done. Why? Why? Sometimes you have a bad night at the office. It's that simple. So for me, no, Whittaker wouldn't be done if he lost tonight. And same with Till. That'd be 3 and 4 for Till. He wouldn't be done by any stretch of the imagination. Talent wise, it's all there. Ability, it's all there. It's just about putting these little things together. Like we said earlier, losses are sometimes the best things for fighters because it shows you where you are and where you need to grow. So I definitely feel like that would be the case for Whittaker in that sense. I do feel if he did lose, Hermansson would be a good fight for him because it can go either way. It's essentially like this one, there's a bit of reward to it. If you beat him, okay, you're still maybe just a fight away from the title, so it's not all doom and gloom. So I wouldn't be throwing retirement questions at him just yet.
Yeah, definitely. One fighter I do feel sorry for is Kelvin Gastelum. You think last year he was preparing for a title fight. Unfortunately, Whittaker got injured. He went to the interim title fight, got unlucky there, and obviously he lost to Hermansson last week. And he's not even in the top 6, top 7 of the rankings for the middleweight division. You have to feel sorry for him. It's on a knife, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like, Gastelum's still a killer at middleweight. Like, you can't look at the people Gastelum smoked through. Like, you just can't say that these people are done just because they have a couple of losses. Masvidal has 15 losses, 13 losses on his record.
Yep.
He just fought for the title last week. It happens. Like, not everyone's going to be undefeated, so just let it be what it is. Like, the way I see it, for me, when it gets to a BJ Penn stage, or even again, I'm probably going to sound terrible, but Jose Aldo's had a couple now, but it's getting there. I'm not ready to say right, hang it up yet, but it's getting there. You know what I mean? It just seems like you can't win the big one anymore. So, but mainly BJ Penn, when it gets to that stage, that's when I'll start saying, right, step away, because it's, what's the point?
Yeah, it is a tough one, but we do move on. That ties us nicely to the co-main event, which is Shogun versus Nogueira. This is the third time the bouts happened. Once in Pride in 2005, once in 2015. Shogun's got 2-0 over this one. Is this almost a bowing out fight for Nogueira, or at least both of them, perhaps?
Potentially, yeah. They're both cracking on a bit now. Rua is he's 38, and Nogueira's old back now. Nogueira is 44. So you got 2 guys there who are in the latter stages of their career. Potentially, yeah. But you just never know anymore because fighters keep retiring, coming back. So these guys might just think, no, I'm still feeling like I can hang with these guys and keep in the rankings. So they might actually stick around.
Yeah, see, they're in the light heavyweight division. Shogun, I believe, is 4 in his last 6. His last fight was against Anthony Smith, I believe. And he did lose that. But, you look at Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira's on that rise. And many are saying he could be in line for a title shot, a fight or 2 down the line. Shogun wins tonight. You could say he's got 5 in his last 7. You could see him maybe edging towards that way where they do come towards in the latter end of their career. They put on a little bit of that extra spark. Yeah,
it very well could be the case, but you just have to look at the killers once you get to that top 5. And, I don't know about the 2 years, but I'm not interested in seeing Shogun or Nogueira against anybody in that top 5. It's just, I'm sorry, it's just a different stage.
No, not at all. No, I don't think they're close to it.
I see your point, Mitch. I absolutely do see your point. I'm not like brushing it off. Like you're right. Like what's he supposed to do? He's supposed to go out there and win, right? And when you keep winning, yeah, you should be rewarded. But it's just different. It's just different, and it's been different. I feel it's been different ever since Jones done the job on him and took the title. How many years ago?
Yeah, he's pushing on now, isn't it? Close to a decade, that must be. At least 7
now.
Probably.
2011.
Very good. 19th of March.
There you go.
The first time these two fought in Pride, I was 8 years old.
That's crazy, man.
With your Jimmy Neutron hairdo.
Oh, my hairline was a lot better back then, don't you worry. University does this. No.
Oh, good. I can't wait. I have it all ahead of me now.
I'm going in for another year. But, hey.
You'll be bald coming out of next year.
What's your prediction going into this one? Are you going for a Shogun win, making it the 3 on the bounce, or 3-0 against Nogueira?
Yeah, I am gonna go Shogun, but only because it's at his level. You know what I mean? Like I feel like if he fought anyone remotely above him in that rankings, it wouldn't be well. But listen, he's had the experience over Nogueira. I see that continue.
Definitely. Moving on. Oh wait, sorry, Quillette. What's your prediction? Oh, I skipped it.
He won't say my name correctly, and he's skipping me. This is terrible.
This is what you do to the owner of the site, what? Okay.
Stephen owns it. I run it.
Yeah, essentially, right.
How do I see it? I don't think it matters really, but we'll go with. I'm gonna go with Rua to do this. Shogun Rua is just gonna, he's beaten him twice before. He's most likely gonna do it again. He's got a few years on his side. His last loss was to Anthony Smith, and that's no bad loss at all. Yeah. That's an elite fighter right there. And he went on to beat Tyson Pedro, draw Paul Craig. Yeah, he's in perfect position to win this fight. I think he's going to take it. I think he'll finish it too.
Yeah, and he had like Corey Anderson as well, who's there knocking on the door. You know, he has a win over him. Like 4 years ago, but still, you know, tough Corey Anderson. So that's he's not done, but
he's getting there.
Just keep him away from anywhere.
So,
do a legend series. Can we just do a legend series or something?
Isn't that what Mike Tyson's trying to do?
Actually, yeah, change that.
Yeah.
Don't. We're in 2020. We're seeing Mike Tyson and Jake Paul on the same card.
But of course, that's 2020. Think about it.
That's it. It's crazy.
That's happened this year. They're finding UFOs now, and Mike Tyson's coming back.
The fact that UFOs has been confirmed and no one's batted an eyelid to it says everything about this year.
I'm fascinated by it.
So, okay, we move on from light heavyweight to a former light heavyweight. It's Alexander Gustafsson making this heavyweight debut tonight against the British Werdum, a former champion, of course. How excited we see Gus back in the octagon. Obviously, he made his retirement, so in quotations, against Anthony Smith. After that quite poor loss in Stockholm, of course, he said it was based on emotions, the fact that he announced his retirement inside the octagon. But he's back, 240 pounds. Everyone's excited to see the Mauler back. Jay, how excited are you to see him in the heavyweight division?
Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited because I think this is going to sound weird, but I'm going to take it away from Gustafsson for a second. I think this is something John Jones is going to be looking at. I think John Jones is going to be seeing how Gustafsson's pace translates his power. You know, I think this is going to be interesting. I actually do think this is the best kind of matchup for him to come into the heavyweight division. For him, he didn't look great against Olenek last time round. It was actually he looked very out of shape. His performance wasn't much better. So I think this is probably the perfect matchup for him to come into. It's because it's a name. It's a former heavyweight champion. You know, going up and getting a win over a former champion, it only does good things for you. So I would expect him to be on point tonight.
Yeah, as you mentioned, he came back at UFC 249 after his 2 years out. Do you think there could have been any, the octagon rust almost to speak for the Doom? He went the full distance. He went 15 minutes and could this be a fight? You know, it's kind of lose-lose for the Doom. If he beats Gustafsson, it's because Gustafsson is a retired fighter. He's come up to the division. And if he loses, he's got beaten by a former light heavyweight.
Oh, I think you're missing a lot there, though. So I don't think it's I don't think it's a lose-lose. I think if you beat Gustafsson tonight, you stop probably someone who people think is going to come into heavyweight and do what he did in light heavyweight, where he competed for a title, where he was up there always. He wasn't just any light heavyweight. He was a light heavyweight competing for the title. He was an elite light heavyweight. He showed like how good he is over the years. Three times.
Three times he competed for the title. You know, it says a lot.
It says a lot how good he actually is. So if you're coming back and you're deciding to go up, and you're looking for a new challenge, like if Werdum can take him out, that's massive. Like that's huge. Like the amount of hype coming in on the back of Gustafsson, I think it'd be massive for Werdum and his career if he just depending on where he would decide to go afterwards as well if he was to win. But in terms of Gustafsson, then I think this fight is like it's one of those fights where if he wins, spotlight's on him in heavyweight for a while. Like obviously not the top three, but it's that spotlight's on him for trying to break into that top five, trying to looking forward who's a future contender. People will look at him then if he wins this fight, especially if he wins it convincingly.
Yeah, he'll be the man at heavyweight until Francis Ngannou murders somebody again.
Could be him if he wins. Could be him.
Could be.
Yeah, the poor man's waiting for a fight so long. He's desperate for a title shot again.
It's crazy what's going on. But as you said, John Jones will probably have eyes on this fight. The fact that DC is coming up to heavyweight, OSP's up there now, Gustafsson's up there. John Jones is the next in line to make that move up, and he's probably the most anticipated move up. But the fact that we've got these three former title challengers going up there says a lot, and it says John Jones probably makes his move up there within the next year or two, hopefully.
I don't know, because I don't know what's gonna come or when this whole thing's gonna be solved with the UFC in terms of the relationship. This isn't the first time that they've been at heads with each other, so I don't know. I'd like to think it'll be resolved fairly quickly, but I think he'll defend his light heavyweight title before he even considers a move up to heavyweight at this point. I think he just flirts with that idea to give us something to talk about. I don't know about you, but do you think he's ever been serious about going to heavyweight? Because this has been talked about for 5-6 years now, and there hasn't been a sign of it.
I only believed him. I believed him once when he was on about, when he was, because he went off on Twitter saying how he was, that fight with Ngannou, he wanted it, and it wasn't like he's already cemented his legacy. It's, he just wants bigger fights. He wants more money. He wants to train. So yeah. I believe then, I think then he probably was serious because the payday, the fight itself would have been insane. The name in Ngannou, I think he was serious then, but any other times not so much. Especially do you remember when he came back, his original comeback, when he came back really muscly and really slow and sluggish?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's the kind of worry if he moves up about Jones, because if he moves up and he's like that, I don't see him doing as well unless he figures that out, but who knows?
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it? I think, as you said, the Ngannou talk was real, and I think he would have moved up had all everything been sorted. And I do think it's an interesting one. As you say, the weight is a difference there. As we see, Gustafsson came in at 240. Obviously, DC's around that 240 mark. Miocic is around 235, 240 as well. And I think OSP was. I can't really see John Jones going up to that 240 mark. What do you expect him to come in at?
I don't know. I kind of could, though. I remember when he wanted Brock, he was talking about around 235, between 230 and 235. So, yeah.
235 would be good for him.
Yeah, well, I think it would. It's a decent enough size. I think Kane was only around that when Kane was in his prime. But Kane wasn't big. So,
and he was still an absolute killer.
Oh, absolutely. He's my all-time favorite heavyweight. Like, to me, he's the greatest. I know people keep going on about Stipe. Listen, you've had one more title defense than him. That does not make you the greatest. I'm sorry. It's just me. But Cain Velasquez, prime Cain Velasquez, smokes Stipe. So yeah, Cain's the GOAT for me. We're not even talking about that. I just had to get my point across. But, yeah.
I know, yeah. Hot takes,
I
CJ.
get my point across any chance I can.
Love it.
Yeah, it's one of the tail tape. We have a look at it again. He's to get how big Gustafsson is. There even a light heavyweight. You know, he's coming to this heavyweight, but he's huge. He's got 2-inch reach advantage over the doing longer legs, of course, and he's got an inch in the height advantage as well. He's huge. He's really called the Mauler for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And he's really well-rounded as well. Like, that man will maul you, be it grappling or just by standing trading. He fits the bill completely to that nickname that he has.
Yeah, I'm all here for triple uppercuts again.
I was thinking the exact same thing. I was thinking I can't wait to see him throw an uppercut. I was going to say it as well. It's brilliant. Great minds think alike.
That's it.
40-pound uppercut's going to hurt the dude at that weight. But I was going to say, as you mentioned there was rumours that, when he retired about a potential back injury perhaps, and obviously he got submitted by Anthony Smith. He got put to the ground by John Jones and TKO'd. And we know how good Werdum is on the ground. Potentially, if we see him in that ground position, do you think Werdum heavily sort of takes the win there? Or do you think it's, he's Gustafsson's equal to him on the ground perhaps?
No, Gustafsson's not equal to him on the ground. But again, I think it comes down to shape, what type of shape he's in. If he looks sluggish in there, I think Gustafsson could do enough to maintain himself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see this even going to the ground, to be perfectly honest. I think the only way it goes to the ground is when Gustafsson puts him there, if I'm being brutally honest.
Yeah, it would be nice to see him get a win. And, we're waiting for someone to shock that heavyweight rankings. Obviously, we've got the title fight in a couple of weeks now. But it has become a bit of a stale division, even though there's killers like Ngannou in there.
Yeah, but there's Go ahead.
No, you're going, go on.
No, I was just saying, like even with Ngannou, Ngannou's a killer, but he's a boxer. Like you very seldom see him kick, like shoot a takedown, engaging the clinch. He's a boxer who just wants to take your head off. And then who else is there? There's Cormier and there's Stipe. Then there's Derek Lewis, Curtis Blades, who's got knocked out, beat twice by Ngannou. So it needs like fresh blood in that division. Yeah, and not just one body. It needs a solid 2 or 3 well-rounded heavyweights. And it's the perfect market for John Jones to go into, I feel. Because he's the most complete fighter in the UFC, I feel. If he went into heavyweight, sky's the limit. But I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, definitely. It'd be interesting to see what Ngannou's next fight is, or if he does wait to still up in that title bout and he then gets that next shot, rightfully so, in my opinion. He's beaten everyone below him, and he deserves another shot. If Miocic wins, he deserves another shot and to rectify his mistakes that he had in the first bout. It's been a terrific 2 years for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but look, he is rightfully the number 1 contender. Like, make no mistake about it. And I agree. I believe he will. I believe this fight, if he fight Stipe, will be completely different. I'm not saying he wins, but it would be completely different the last time. He blew his gasket in the first round. We thought Stipe, all he had to do was touch Stipe, and that was it. It wasn't the case. Stipe rolled the shots nicely, and sure enough, he got beat up then afterwards. So I believe it'd be different. But again, let's say Ngannou wins. If it's not Jones, who do you have him fight? You can't have him fight Curtis Blades for a 3rd time. Who wants to see a man get murdered 3 times in a row? It's not fair. We need new options. I thought Volkov was going to be that. Derek Lewis bust his jaw nicely, and then that all changed. I'd say do that maybe. Derek Lewis has a win over him.
Yeah, I'd like to see that fight be run back just to see if that first one that went so horrendous wasn't one.
That's what I was going to say. Just hope it's nothing like the first fight. Who would ever thought he'd want the rematch from that fight,
Just about to say that, yeah.
It's crazy. Cyril Gane is obviously a prospect in that division, and he's probably going to climb those rankings probably this year and next year. I believe they've got a fight coming up soon as well in September, I believe. So I'm interested to see what he does.
Do you know, I want Anthony Johnson back. That's what I want. Put him at heavyweight.
Yes, there was talk about him, Rumble coming back, wasn't there?
Him and Ngannou. I want it all. Get you shot at over. Bring it to them. I'm telling you. Up the stakes. It's like two White Dragos just going head to head. You have to do it.
We've seen this year.
If it goes past one round, that wouldn't be a very good fight.
Yeah, in fairness.
Now, we moved on from a stale division to arguably this is definitely the best women's division, but it's a hectic division in terms of what's going on. We've got Carla Esparza versus Marina Rodriguez. Rodriguez is coming in. You know, she's got 12 wins, 2 draws. Her last fight was against Cynthia Calvillo, which was a draw, and Calvillo missed weight for that bout as well. So what's your thoughts on this fight, Quilla? Quarter.
You still haven't got it, lad.
Him 4 different names today.
Lad, he introduced me last week as Kuwait, and now he's mixed it up left, right, and centre. How do I see this one going?
Brilliant. Actually, I'm here for it.
Oh man, like brilliant. It's what happens when you don't have a name anyone can say. But
call him Phil Mitchell. That's the only thing I can think of.
Why Phil Mitchell?
His name is Mitchell. That's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, fair. We'll call him Phil. Dr. Phil. All right. Esparza and Rodriguez. If it goes to the ground, that's like realistically, Carla Esparza just wants to bring this to the ground and submit her. Despite how tough Rodriguez is and how like she's proven she's pretty good. Like she's at a standard where she should be in the UFC and she should be competing against some high level opponents in the UFC, like what she's looked good so far. But I think this one's a step up. I think it's going to be Carla Esparza takes her down to the ground, and just how grapples her, and like she might submit her after a while as well. I don't know. I can't see Esparza being beaten here. But if Rodriguez wins, she's up there. Then I think she's going to be on the tip of everyone's tongue on who to fight next. Then, especially with that undefeated record.
Yeah, definitely. You know, you see Amanda Ribas, the bounce that she got from being Pau Zanzan. This is a similar one. The inaugural strawweight champion, of course, we were talking off there about Carla Esparza going up for the Ultimate Fighter rankings. Of course, her defense against Joanna and Jacek didn't go to plan. But again, she's as game as anyone. But, you know, we'll have a look at the teletape. 5'1" versus 5'6". That, you know, the advantage is Arthur Rodriguez, Jay.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like we looked at Marina Rodriguez earlier on, and before we went live, and yeah, she's gritty, she's tough. You know, she came through the Contender Series. You know, it's the first time she's fought out of Brazil in the UFC. Some good names on her record as well. So listen, she has the ability to go in and do damage in the division, but it's like Quill said, like Esparza, she's just with that wrestling. It's different. Like our grappling is elite. And I'm probably going to sound a tad bit disrespectful, but that's probably the bit where I go for my smoke break. Because the first round will dictate a lot for me. Because, look, don't get me wrong, I love mixed martial arts as a whole, right? But there's something about Esparza when she either gets you against the fence. If she doesn't take you down, she pins you to the fence and she maintains it. Or when she gets you down, there's not a lot of damage being done on the ground. You know what I mean? It's maintain position, scramble, move, maintain position, move. You know, it's nothing. I don't know. You know, she's great at it. Don't get me wrong. So I can't discredit her for that. It's just not very. She's not the most appealing fighter to me. I'll say that much. Sorry, Carl.
She's not everyone's cup of tea, I guess.
Yeah, I hope she's not listening.
Oh yeah, she just. I'm sure she's sitting there backstage in UAE thinking, let's see what these guys are chatting about me.
Yeah.
She'll at you on Twitter next and be like, Jay, what the hell? She'll come down to Dublin and take you down, pin you against the fence, and then strangle you after about 14 and a half minutes.
That's the thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, she could, like smother me in seconds. it's game over. Like, yeah, like that's what I mean. Her wrestling is just so good. Like, it really is.
It's amazing.
Yeah. It's what got her the title in the first place. And even you remember that I believe Rose was the favorite going into that finale against her. So like, and again, she just completely shut Rose down and just nullified her own game plan. And yeah, I think the only thing with Joanna just got in her head so bad, that she was a shell of herself in the cage, and Joanna pieced her up. But
do you think that's the case? I think it's just. I think she may have gotten in her head a little, but I think a lot of that was the fact that she couldn't get her down. Like, Joanna is just, her striking was just so, like there's levels in striking. Like, obviously you look at Carla Spertz's grappling and she is elite, incredible. Yeah. But then, like, if fight starting the feet, and if you're against someone who's able to keep their range, keep you off her like Joanna, I think it was just the striking alone that just picked her apart.
Yeah, well, look, I would probably. That's fair because it could easily be both. Because if you remember, like the media day that fight week, like Joanna with the stare down. Remember, like she's getting right up and under and all. Like she's just so like intimidating. And as far as it was just like a deer in the headlights, Yeah, I felt bad for her. Like, and then like you said, Joanna for the longest time had savage takedown defense. So that was one thing Carla didn't need. Was to have this elite level striker with top quality takedown defense. Because what happens then? You're gonna get picked apart. Joanna was a mauler around that stage. She still is. It could be both. But to me, it was more a mental game. I think Carla looked broken as the fight began.
Definitely.
Interesting.
I think there's probably a bit of both of that. I think the skill set that Joanna came in with that fight, and I think her mental game was probably, it's relentless. It's probably it's not leveled in that division until we saw what happened against Rose. And she tried it against Rose, it didn't work. Rose stayed calm, and she beat her twice back to back. And that first bout that they had was, a mauling.
Yeah, because I feel like that was a different approach. I feel she played like with Carla. She played the mind games, which she wanted to get in her head and kind of just like intimidate her almost. Whereas with Rose, I felt like Joanna played the bully. I remember that fight because there was Bisping, Garbrandt, and Joanna. They were all the champions who defended our belts that night. And every single one of them champions got their comeuppance because they all went into that fight acting very, very out of sorts. They acted like assholes, to be perfectly honest. They did. And all three of them, I think, got pieced up and got knocked out. It was beautiful to see.
Yeah, it's crazy. I do think... Jane here with the hot take.
I'm on it tonight, lads.
He's not even had a drink yet.
Jay, you're pulling no punches, lad.
I do think Maria Rodriguez, she's got that Amanda Rivas about her in terms of there's a little bit of a revolution coming in. There's we're seeing the likes of Yoni and Jacek almost dropping out of that and being overtaken by the new breed. I think Rodriguez, she gets a win tonight. She's ranked 9th in the rankings at the moment. Esparza's 7th, so if she gets a win here, she's looking to push into that top 6. Tatiana Suarez hasn't got an opponent yet. Obviously, Jessica Andrade's come back off that loss. There's some big fights up for the winner of this bout.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Okay, I guess.
What's that? Right, yeah. The silence.
I thought. I was literally like, the fight's got to happen first to make a fight afterwards first.
What's everyone thinking on Rhys Mckee tonight?
Buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. Yes, that is just the fight I wanted to hear out of you, Jay. Thank you. Yes, that is fight. I think Dana White put up his "If you don't know now, you know," and it was that fight. It's fantastic. Everyone knows this one is going to be an absolute banger. I can't wait. Funny random fact: Rhys Mckee was the first professional MMA fight that I've seen live. It was the first one. I remember I rocked up at first ever day at media, and I was like, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. First fight was, I think it was Keane Cowley in an amateur bout, and then second fight was the first professional fight night, Rhys Mckee, and he impressed. I've seen so many of his fights since. It's mad to see where he's at now, and he's deserved every bit of it. He's incredible. His progression's insane, isn't it?
Who was the guy he stepped up in on short notice against? He moved up 2 weight classes. he jumped up to welterweight. Remember, he was at featherweight at one point. I think Reece Mckee was, and he jumped
Yeah,
up.
was he?
Who?
I think he was. I think Reece Mckee was constantly.
Nah, I
lightweight.
remember the fella who's at. He's at SBG now. Oh, his name for the life of me is gone.
Oh, right, like John Redmond, like
Yeah.
that was his debut. Actually, yeah, his debut against John Redmond was at welterweight. But before that fight, he was a featherweight, but it was an amateur. Jeez, he fought Battlezone at featherweight.
Yeah.
He must have 2015. What's he now? He must have been about 18, 19 at the time. 5 years ago,
yeah.
19. Wow.
Yeah, see,
he's grown a lot
pay
since then.
attention to the streets, Quilter, you know? The streets
Tell
be
you.
talking about you listening.
Streets now.
If the streets are talking to you, Jay, do you know what? I think we might time to get you checked out.
Oh, God. Unfortunately, you're right. Now, look, he's bounced back pretty well from the loss to 30 Brazier as well, like so.
Big time. He's looked good. That switch over to Cage Warriors was massive for him, wasn't it?
Yeah. How long was he with Bama for? Let me check.
He was at Bama since his debut.
2, 3, 4, 5.
So,
Jesus, yeah. I didn't know he had a draw with Richie Smullen.
it was a fantastic fight. Absolutely amazing.
I've actually never seen that fight.
I recommend it. I remember watching it, and I was there. The crowd was just going insane. It was back and forth. Unbelievable fight. The draw. Do you know what? A draw actually made sense. Funnily enough.
Did it?
Yeah, a draw made. I thought a draw made sense as soon as I heard it read out. Like, people would be a bit annoyed that it was, so this person won. They thought whatever they thought, but like realistically, I think I was like, it kind of makes sense. It's like it was so close that. I think it was fair result.
It's very rare, isn't it, that you see a fight where you kind of like you don't want someone to lose just because of how good the fight was.
Yeah, there's a few of them. It was like that fight with Darren Till and Nicholas Dalby, wasn't it? That was another one where I thought, I was like, yeah, the draw makes sense here. That was a cracking fight as well. Remind that. Something like that.
Dublin?
Is that in Dublin?
Yes. Was in Dublin,
Yeah.
wasn't it? That was the build up for this fight. Obviously, perfect for tonight. Whittaker versus Till was supposed to be in Dublin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we didn't get that.
Oh no.
It's different. It's a different type of Fight Island this time, isn't it?
Do you know what? Look,
if
Reece Mckee comes out here and he looks as good as he has in his last few fights and throughout his entire career, we might, you might bring it back to Ireland now sometime soon.
That machine's getting put behind him if he beats this guy tonight.
The hype machine. Oh yeah, lad. If he beats Kamzat tonight, because Reece Mcgee's coming in a massive underdog in this,
Yeah.
If he wins this, it'd be huge.
Size-wise, he looks okay though, doesn't he, up against him?
Does, yeah. I thought Kamzat would come in massive compared, but Reece Mckee looks filled out a fair amount. His nickname's Skeletor as well, but he's filling out a good bit. He looks solid on the scales for a lad who's taking his fight in short notice.
Yeah, I love the video of him going out. The video that went viral last week of him getting the call. Stuff like that. I love seeing it, especially for a guy from this side of the pond.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He's training out of Next Gen, isn't it? Next Gen in up in Belfast. Or is it? Let me check. He's training. Next Gen in Ballymena, excuse me.
Yeah, to mention his opponent, Kazmat Chimaev, obviously he did very well against Phillips, just 10 days ago. He's now got the record for modern UFC history for the quickest turnaround. He looked very impressive on that Wednesday night, didn't he?
Yeah.
Saturday night, no? It was a Wednesday night card. Jesus, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Losing track of all these fights, lads. So many going on. Between regional MMA and UFC, it's just there's so much happening. It's crazy.
It's nice to have the sport back again at full speed.
We're almost at full speed. Almost. Yeah, he looked fantastic to Chimaev, didn't he? He was a different beast in there. He's looked like that his entire career. I think I watched fight. I think I started watching him when he was about 2 or 3-0, and he's just been a straight killer. He's incredible.
Yeah,
it was such a comparison, wasn't it? a mixture of Khabib and Robert Whittaker. That's what Dana said. No, I couldn't think.
It's a good one, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
The fact that he's already been named the Swedish Khabib after one fight, you know, those sort of nicknames, they stick, don't they? Everyone looks for a fighter that's established and goes, right, you're the next him. And the fact that we got the Swedish Khabib is quite funny. I'm hoping
Yeah, they done that with Tatiana Suarez as well, didn't they?
Did they? I don't remember that one.
The female Khabib.
Oh, Jesus.
It's either her or Juliana Pena, but I feel like it's Tatiana Suarez.
I know we'll get to see her back soon. Obviously, she's got that neck injury, and she's not really said when she's due back. I don't know if it's a reoccurring neck injury. I do feel sorry.
Interesting.
But definitely,
It's no wonder they're calling Tatiana Suarez the female Khabib. Tatiana Suarez maintained her pristine professional. Yeah, basically, yeah.
There you go.
She has a big story as well coming up through the game with some of the battles that she's had outside of the cage as well. But definitely, she's going to be looking at the strawweight fight, potentially seeing her next moment. But we go back to Chimaev, Reece Mckee. What's your predictions?
Go on,
I'm
Joe.
going to go Reece Mckee. Absolutely. I have to support him.
Decision, TKO, submission. Come on, give us something more. Hot takes, Jay.
Hot takes.
He's full of them today, like. Sorry.
I'm going to go first round TKO. It's going to be very competitive, and he's going to catch him just on the end of something coming in, straight down the pipe. And he's going to drop down, bit of ground and pound. Game over.
Not bad, not bad.
Yeah.
Jeez. You must be one of very few people going for McGee.
Am I not allowed?
No, you're well in your right. It's just a bit of a surprise. Funny, I actually saw someone they broke down, they went in full analyst on it and started breaking down the two fighters and started looking at, you know, the stuff Chimaev does and how Reece McGee could expose the same little mistakes that he may do or the same pattern he may do when he's trying to get a takedown, for example. And it was interesting because when I was reading them, I was like, yeah, McGee is more than capable of doing this. It's like, if I was going to go with my prediction, I think Chimaev's going to win this one. I think 6 days notice is very tough against a fighter like Chimaev, but it just you're pitting two really, really good prospects against each other very early. Regardless of who wins, despite me thinking it's going to be Chimaev, I think there's a high chance they can meet again in the future later up when they're in the rankings. But yeah, Chimaev. Yeah. I'm going to go Chimaev submission round 2.
Can't believe it.
It's interesting, isn't it? Obviously, do you think there could be any question? Obviously, Chimaev after this fight, he asked for that quick return. You think the fact that he fought only 10 days ago, obviously that fight didn't last very long. He was in and out pretty quickly. Do you think that could have any effect on his performance tonight? And Reece Mckee is coming in as the underdog, as the debutant. He's probably looking to take the fire almost for this event and really build a name off that in the UFC, of course. I'm going to say Chimaev as well. I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's the main card opener. I think we could see this go the distance. I think Chimaev gets the decision, and I think you're right. I think we see this one again 2-3 years down the line when they're both inside the rankings.
I don't think it is the main card opener, is it? I think
it is, yeah. First one.
I think it's only 4 fights on the main card. No,
7.
Yeah, 7.
Is it?
Yes, UFC.
Huge.
Main fight card. The only way to enter Fight Island.
So it is.
Yeah, it's one hell of a. Funny enough, though, I think I'm looking at the main card here, and if you had to tell me where would I put that fight compared to the rest of them in terms of like the hype surrounding it, you'd put it just before Gustafsson and Werdum because I think this was the one that people are looking forward to so much. But yeah, no, it's a really good opener to that main card. It's deserving of its place as well, despite there's some guys with a lot of UFC experience in the prelims, but this deserves to open up the main card. Both guys are serious fighters.
And I do think it's good for Reece to jump straight in and his first fight being on the main card. You know, you've never really had that. I remember Paddy Houlihan's first fight for the UFC was, the curtain opener at UFC Dublin back when McGregor fought Brando. McGregor, again, even his debut, I think he was the first fight when he beat Marcus Brimage. Second fight, still again undercard against Max Holloway. Like, so it's good to see Reese jump straight in onto the main card, and it's
a good habit, like.
Yeah, and it's a good platform to really, get his name out there, and I hope that's what happens tonight.
Yeah, no, 100% be good, because if you're starting on a main card, like, you're probably going to have more people watch the main card than they would kind of the prelims, the early prelims in particular. So if you buried that type of fight there, I don't think you do as much justice as it deserves, especially so having it in the position it's in is fantastic, and they're probably deserving of it as well, and definitely something that if it lives up to expectations, you'd expect two of them to maintain on main card slots for the foreseeable anyway.
Answer me this, right? Why do you think Reese never went the Bellator route the way like the majority of Irish fighters have been going lately?
Why do I think?
Yeah, well, like, do you have an opinion on it?
Like, some people have different goals. I say, like, maybe they could have come asking, but he may have got just as. So I don't know any details in the background or anything like that, but they may have come asking. I'd be very shocked if they didn't, because considering the links, the ties with Bama and all that. But it could have just worked out better. He could have, Graham Boylan could have met with him and said, look, it can make you a star. Or he goes, you could be a star, we can put you in some good competitive fights, you can test yourself, and it could be a track to the UFC, and that could be his goal. I don't think there's anything wrong with going to either, really, but that could have been just his goal, and that's what worked out better.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. Like, had he have went with Bellator, I just mean on the case of, like, Bellator signed a lot of Irish talent in the last couple of years, mainly through the SBG banner, as well. So
lots of Team Rhino recently.
Sorry?
Lots of Team Rhino guys recently as well.
Yeah, so I just thought, but then again, I remember just as saying it, I was just thinking there, he's obviously very superstitious, isn't he? Because I remember reading that he didn't want to corner Norman Park in the UFC.
Yeah, that was it, right?
He wants his first UFC experience to be his first fight, so maybe he had his heart set on UFC from the get-go, actually, yeah.
Isn't it interesting that how Rhys McGee and Chimaev are both fighting, and their teammates both fought in previously as well. I was in Rotterdam, the fight between Park and Medadi.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
if Park was in his corner, that would be I would have been mad. But it's funny how things line up.
Is that where that fight was with Park and Reza Medadi?
I'm almost positive. I was at that event, and I'm pretty sure that was the event where Park and Medadi went down, because there was a big build-up beforehand of everyone was like really expecting it to be an all-out war and all this, and it was, people were a little disappointed near the end. But I still thought it was a good fight. But once I just double-checked that now, I'm pretty sure that was in Rotterdam, and goes back a long time, that one.
Yeah, almost to add to your point, the fact that he became the 96th athlete from Cage Warriors, didn't he? To sign, I think, was it to sign for the UFC? He was the 96th fighter to do it. And the fact that you've seen some of the alumni on display, even tonight, you got Tom Aspinall from there, Nicholas Dalby's fighting tonight, and the fact that we've had so many over the Fight Island period, Cage Warriors is pretty much. If you're probably looking at a year, you got IMAF is probably your first point of call, then Cage Warriors, then the UFC, if that's the path that you want to take in your career. That's the way to do it.
It's the perfect stepping stone, isn't it? Like, not that they're looked at that way, but they are, like, it's almost like there is a relationship. I'm sure there's a relationship with the two anyway.
It's on Fight Pass, isn't it? The fact that
exactly. Exactly.
I was wrong, actually. It wasn't at Rotterdam. It was at Dublin. Excuse me.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
It was the co-main. That's what it was.
For Paddy Houlihan?
Yeah, Paddy Houlihan Smoker. It was the co-main to that.
Yeah, I had a feeling.
Do you remember the weigh-ins where was it Park threw the handbag at Medadi or something like that?
That's getting crazy. He went to prison for it or something, didn't he?
Don't really. Well, I didn't really look into it.
Allegedly, is that?
Allegedly. You were listening to too much Full-Time Devils. Or Shefford Paddock, whatever.
Full-Time Devils is now dead, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, I was looking at some of these fight cards. Tonight there's some potential bloodbath on here. We've seen Nicholas Dalby's fight. We saw how that went.
I love Nicholas Dalby.
There's potentially horrific fights on this in terms of the damage. And fight fans, we love the damage, but it can go a little bit too far at times. But it's one hell of a fight. Last week we saw Bisping make a joke that the canvas is almost too clean. I doubt it's going to be very clean tonight.
Yeah, especially like you've Alex Oliveira as well on the card.
Yeah.
He's out to hurt somebody.
It's like
who else? I'm trying to look through it.
Gus.
Tanner Boser's actually back tonight, isn't he?
Yeah,
he is.
That was like 3 weeks or something he fought.
Yeah, I think it was on the Wednesday card as well, actually, or the Saturday before.
Betch Kohei as well.
Against
Nathaniel Wood. Is that the
card.
dude I said had the big Darren Till frame?
Might be. He's at bantamweight, isn't he? He lost to John
He's
Dodson.
135.
Yeah, he lost to Dodson, yeah, but he had this kind of same frame as Till, yeah. It would be interesting to see. That's the first fight. What time did they start that? They should be starting soon.
It should be starting now, yeah. Should be on now, even.
We'll wrap this up very soon then. Right.
Yeah, my battery's literally on the brink.
Take really hot takes tonight. That's what it is. We'll just wrap up with Kuzan here. He said, what's your prediction for the main event? Let's go to the main card. Obviously, we've spoken about the main event a bit beforehand. If you're building an Aka tonight, what are you going for?
Right, I guess I'll go. I'm going to go Oliveira, Reese Mckee, Gustafsson, Shogun, Whittaker. And that's where I'm staying at. I'm doing a 5.
You're going to do a 5?
Yeah.
I'm going to go
man.
all 6.
I do 6 or something, right? Or 7 or whatever. And then I lose the very first fight. So I'm like, great grand, I'll just do another one with the other 6. And then I lose again. I'm like, this shit, man. So yeah, no, I'm just sticking to the 5. And the one time I did the bet was the Masvidal card, and sure enough, we know how that night ended up for me. And I got all my predictions right.
Yeah, your luck wasn't on your side that night, was it?
No.
So, okay, I'm going to go for Chimaev, Oliveira, Paul Craig. I'm going to say Esparza for this one. Then Alexander Gustafsson, Mauricio Shogun Rua, and then Darren Till to finish it off. That's my main card Aka right there.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. I think I'll go with Marina Rodriguez. I think she should be a little bit too much, and I think she's going to propel herself into that top 6. But yeah, I think that's almost nailed it. Yeah, as you say, Jay, if there's a 12-fight card, I probably get 5 right, but it's always that one, the most important one that I get wrong, and it's horrendous, especially when I'm building an Aka.
It's always the one that you know in your head you can't lose. You know you can't lose. And then you'll see the dude get kneed right into the nose and it's game over, and it's like,
oh god, brilliant.
Definitely. But yeah, that's good. I guess we can start getting on these prelims and really enjoying the action. Fight Island's been a blast. We get the last opinion. What's your opinion on Fight Island? And do you want to see it more perhaps in the future?
great, you go ahead, mate.
Go on. Yeah, more Fight Island. I want more Fight Island. Give us a few more Wednesday cards on top of that. Stack it all you like. Just I have all of what this Fight Island's offered so far. It's been pretty good. I missed the Apex cage, not smaller cage. I think do they have a bigger cage here?
Well,
yeah.
It's the 30-foot cage this week, but obviously we're back next week.
I missed that small Apex cage. If you gave me the Apex cage, they put that on Fight Island. Absolutely mint. We're flying then. But I love it.
That.
Yeah, that's it. It'd be enough to that canvas be painted then, just as Bisping wanted.
It's not because that was the reason why the Cage Warriors fight stopped with Nicholas Dalby, because the canvas was a different material to the UFC one. So it got too slippery in there. That's why Mark Goddard had to stop it.
Yeah, the two lads could barely stand up in there. It was crazy.
That was up for fight of the year, wasn't it? I believe.
deservedly so. It was amazing. Last week, Nicholas Dalby went through an absolute war in that fight.
Definitely. Yeah, I'm excited to see Fight Island back. I think we're going to get it back. The fact that Dana White has come out and said the biggest and baddest fights are going to be on this island. It'd be nice to see if and when fans can come back into the sport. You know, he's talked about doing International Fight Week potentially next year on Fight Island. That would be absolutely huge.
Yeah, well, he's kind of said that Las Vegas has kind of gone second place now to Abu Dhabi, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think for the foreseeable future, this is, like, it essentially is going to be the main venue for title fights. You know, the only way I can kind of see a title fight in Vegas is if it's kind of like, if it's a smaller, like, less kind of promotable title fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a strawweight or something like that.
What you mean?
But other than that, yeah, I think Fight Island's going to be the place to be for the foreseeable future.
I hope so. So we can use this beautiful.
Yeah, okay, Chris.
Yeah, man, I'm absolutely busting to go toilet here. It's been an hour and 10 minutes. A small bladder.
Actually dying and a bladder dying as well. So yeah, we'll wrap it up there, guys. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Make sure to hit like and comment your predictions down below. And we will see you next week for when we're back in Vegas, the end of Fight Island, guys. It's a real sad time, but yes, make sure to check us out on Twitter and Instagram, MMA Latest News, of course. And we'll see you guys on the next video.